Eighth schedule, languages recognized by the constitution. You should not call it as official language because there is so many clarity, we will discuss it. Originally 14, at present 22. Right? So just to keep it in mind, which are there, which are not there. Most of the important languages you will find, but few crucial ones you will not find. Like for example, first one you write, English is not mentioned. See, English is official language of Government of India, but you don't have it mentioned in the 8th schedule. So the typical 8th schedule are mostly only Indian languages have it. English is not mentioned. Sanskrit is mentioned. Then I don't have to talk Hindi, Kannada, Telugu, all those things are obvious. Few curious ones you can write. Curious is where you may get confused. Nepali, Manipuri, Sindhi, Konkani is also mentioned. In other words, what is not there, however? Tulu is not there. That will get to that. Then, what are the previous languages which were added? You can write that also. Bodo, if you have heard, it's a tribe in Assam. There is a demand also called as Bodo land. So Bodo is a language spoken by the Bodo tribes. Bodo, Maithili is, if you have heard, which state? Bihar, spoken in Mithila region of Bihar. Then Santali, obviously very famous, simple reason what? President of India's mother tongue, Santali, Santal tribes of Jharkhand, Odisha, all those things. Then Dogri is a language spoken in parts of Jammu Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. If you have heard, remember we keep writing, instrument of accession was signed by Raja Hari Singh. Raja Hari Singh, all of them belong to Dogri dynasty. Their mother tongues were all Dogri. So these were the recent instances, not now, long back, 2007-8. That is the one. Now if you have observed, recently there is a demand to include which one? Tulu also here. Sir, can we include it? Of course it is allowed. When you can include Konkani, why can't you include Tulu? That is a demand. Sir, but who can include it? Remember, you are talking about constitution. Means what you have to do? Parliament, Article 368, special majority, they have to amend and include. Sir, first of all, again, if you counter it, sir, why did they include Konkani? Why did they not include Tulu? Because for simple reason, there is no criteria as to on what basis are you including a language there. On what basis are you not including it? Constitution does not mention any clarity. So literally then it depends on whom? Parliament will take the final call. There is no reason as to why did you include this language, why did you not include that language. There is no criteria. Only core concept you can write that what? Only Indian languages will be mentioned. That's English is not mentioned. I think there is a demand to include Ladakhi also. Ladakhi language spoken by the people. I mean, the name says I don't have to explain. So just because if you include anything in 8th schedule, is there a benefit? Constitution does not mention any direct benefit that if your language is included there, so give extra. There is nothing mentioned in the constitution. But yes, practically you will get benefit like what? So for example, let's say Government of India wants to encourage subjects or languages. They have to, first point, they have to give priority to whom? 8th schedule languages, like conducting of exams and all those things, or publishing of what railway boards is, that everywhere you will get priorities. And most importantly, if it is included in the constitution, what is it? It's a kind of a pride. It is recognizing your identity. That is the most important one, emotional angle. And of course, wherever possible, they have to keep on encouraging the languages, spread the use of the language. Though directly they have not mentioned any benefit in the constitution. Clear? Yeah, that is your 8th schedule. But here it will not end with this. You have to include so many other aspects related to it, because once for all we can finish off all the aspects related to languages. So put the heading there itself, the concept called as what? Official languages. It is not related to 8th schedule. Overall language aspect I am trying to clear. So as the name itself says, official means what here? Official means, let's say for example, when you say so and so language is the official language of Government of India, means whatever Government of India does, whatever new law they comes up with, whatever new bill they comes up with, new policy they come up with, or exam kind of everything they do, they should do it in these particular languages. Understood? Let's say which language. So I mean, if you know broadly, according to the constitution itself, the official language of Government of India is Hindi along with English. Understood? So when you say Hindi along with English, what does that mean? In the parliament, both the languages will be allowed. An exception. You can speak in your mother tongue, provided, logically you think who should agree? Speaker, head of the house should agree. Then they will allow you to speak. But in general, you have to only use what? Hindi or English. Because that is the official language of Government of India. That's why you look at your UPSC papers, it's only printed in what? Hindi and English, because they are the official languages. whatever new bills they come up with, Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, this bill, whatever it is, it should be published in both. That is official language. Whatever the white paper, if you have seen, you will find it in both English as well as Hindi, because official language. I think got an idea what is official language mean. Fine. Another angle that you have to remember here is, you have told you Hindi along with what? English. But English was told to be official language only for 15 years. Means 1950 Constitution mentioned that English will remain as the official language of Government of India only for 15 years. In other words, still you add 15 years means which? Only till 1965. So, but then what happened, that may mean by 1960s itself, in other words 1959, 60, that time itself, a lot of protests started to emerge, because there were kind of assumptions that probably they will discontinue English as the official language of Government of India. Obviously, where will the opposition majorly come from? South. To be more specific, in Tamil Nadu, protests went to the peak. And that was also the time when the regional parties like DMK, all of those things were emerging. Means the people like Karunanidhi and so many were there. If you don't know the Tamil politics like Annadurai, all of them. So what they did, they took the protest to the peak. If you have heard, I mean, just go search the language Hindi, anti-Hindi protests in 1960s. They had literally what Karunanidhi had slit his, literally what do you call this, the hands, everything he had slit, and what the slogans were written in blood saying, don't talk about Hindi in South like that. I mean, especially in Tamil Nadu. That level of anger was there, frustration. So hence what happened, obviously what they did, Parliament passed an act called as Official Languages Act 1963, and they told, because Constitution also says the same thing, they told clearly that English will continue as the official language of Government of India along with Hindi. But now they did not mention how many years. In other words, you can take it as what? Permanent. Because if they had mentioned the number of years again, you are again creating the problem. So hence they did not talk about it. Clear? So that is official language of whom? Government of India. So then what about the official language of the states? According to the Constitution, that who will take care? State government, state legislature can decide it. And most of the times, if you have seen, their respective whichever dominant regional language will be there, they will become the official languages. But they can also use English if they want to. Means Constitution says that Hindi, regional language, or Hindi or English can be the official languages. If they don't want English, they can discontinue. If they don't want, that's left to them. In typical words, according to the Constitution, official language of state governments depend on state legislature. You take the call. Clear? Then the national language concept, which I have already told you, in the Constituent Assembly itself, they had discussed about the national language idea. So few people have told you that they demanded which one to be included as national language. Sanskrit. First Sanskrit. Now practically, how do you use Sanskrit? How will a common man understand? Hence, obvious, for practical reasons, they said, no, you can't do all these things. Then they told Hindi. Again, obviously, I don't have to explain. So obviously, it created huge protests for the South Indian members, all those things. They said, okay, let's not talk about it. So hence, in the Constitution, there is no mentioning about national language concept. There is nothing like that. Clear? Then the fourth concept you have, which is called as, again, this is not mentioned in the Constitution, but a separate concept called as, which one? Classical language. Like how you have, remember, classical dance, classical, so many things, like a classical language concept is also there, not mentioned in Constitution. It's a new in the sense, I think some 15-20 years back they had come up with it. Classical, whenever you get the word classical, what does that mean? Very old. Same concept, those languages which have very ancient history. Means what? The script is very old. There are evidences of the language being spoken from a very, very long time. There are evidences of what? The poetry written or the literature written for very, very long time. If you have evidences for that, they will classify your language as classical language. Fine. Who will classify it? Government of India, Ministry of Art and Culture. The moment your language is classified as a classical language, the Government of India will give you additional financial help for further research into the history of the language. Remember, they keep telling Karnataka Sahitya, the Itihasa, something like that. So like that, Kannada Bhasha Itihasa, all these things they keep telling. In other words, what? Research into the evolution of the language, history of the language, literature of the language. For that, they will give you additional financial help. Fine, those are the basic advantages. And of course, the most important advantage is what? It is recognition of your identity, of your pride, kind of a one. It's an emotional angle, I don't have to explain. But it is nowhere mentioned where? in the constitution. Government of India, Ministry of Art and Culture provides it. Clear? Because art and culture, I don't have, is related to language, art and culture. Then, so official, what about the official languages of judiciary? Broadly, if you have observed, in judiciary, in courts, you have three hierarchy. We call it as what? Supreme Court, High Court, broadly subordinate courts. Subordinate means what? Lower level, yeah, correct. District level court, taluka level courts. According to the constitution, official language of both Supreme Court and High Court is only and only English. Sir, what do you mean by that? Any arguments there means when the advocates argue, you should argue only in English. Any judgments that the judges give, given only in English. Both arguments as well as what? Judgments. Where all? So both Supreme Court and High Court. But the constitution says that if with respect to High Courts, the respective governor means what? Governor of the particular state, they can also declare along with English other language. Other language means what? Obviously their particular regional language also as official language, not replacing English, along with English. But for that you have to go get the permission of President of India. Understood? In other words, state government should get the permission of President. Yes, few states have done it. Of course, the core, I mean UP, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan have declared Hindi to be the official languages of their high courts along with English. Fine. Even if you declare Hindi as the official language, what they should mandatorily do? All the judgments they should mandatorily declare in English. Sir, why is it like that? Why are you continuing English? For simple reason, for high courts what will happen? Only the people of their respective state will not go to there. For example, let's say you have Allahabad High Court, Uttar Pradesh one. So it is not necessary that only the people of UP will go on to become the judges of Uttar Pradesh High Court, or it's not called as Uttar Pradesh High Court, you should call it as officially Allahabad High Court. Fine. Let's say for example, a person from Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or Kerala has went on to become what? Judge of Allahabad High Court. Let's say if all the arguments happen in Hindi, first of all, how will he understand? Logical, because you have to imagine, I mean, okay, you can learn the language, but the point is what? Arguments happen so in depth, you have a greater hold. How do you expect the judge to write the judgment in Hindi? Correct. Same way you reverse. Let's say for example, a person of UP has went on to become the Madras High Court Judge, Chief Justice. How do you expect him to understand Tamil in detail? Next year he gets transferred to, let's say, Kerala High Court. Do you expect him to win with 1 year get the hold on Malayalam language? Next year, because High Court judges, there are 25, I mean, if you don't know, broadly there are 25 High Courts. Judges can keep getting transferred between High Courts. Let's say 2 year you are Judge of Madras High Court. 2 year you are Judge of, let's say, what will you go and judge again? Again learn Marathi? Practically it's not feasible, right? That is the reason they allow only English. Understood? So, but they allow regional language depending on the states. You might have seen that few Karnataka MPs also take oath in Kannada language in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, all those things. It is allowed. Any language, whichever is allowed. Provided, I have already told you, the official language of Union of India or Union government is what? Hindi and English. So, when the MPs take the oath, where? On the floor of the house. Let's say you are a Lok Sabha MP, you will take the oath where? In Lok Sabha, in the floor of Lok Sabha. Floor means within the Lok Sabha there. You have to only take oath in what? Hindi and English. Hindi or English. Let's say you want to take the oath in your mother tongue, any language. You have to just take the permission of what? That's it. You can also speak in any language, not necessarily 8th schedule language. Head of the house permission. Head of the house is the key. Not necessary that it should be mentioned in 8th schedule. Understood? Yeah, fine. So then, sir, what about the language of the subordinate courts? According to the constitution, the state governments will decide. Obviously, logically, you think regional languages in this level. Clear? Yeah, these are the different aspects related to the language.